So this critique is actually not a bad one. I'm going to go over how to teach the horse to move away from rope pressure. And I've done this with a lot of my horses. Like I've really done it pretty recently with Dakota, but it kind of with the Mustangs, I changed it up a little bit. Um, but it is a decent lesson. If you're going to do ground driving, I would do this, but it's just putting that rope around the horse's hindquarters on that offside and then teaching them to follow that rope around and like move away from pressure. The thing that I would do here is make sure your horse can laterally flex really well, can follow lead rope really well, like during lunging or during leading, or like knows how to tie. But I wouldn't just put it on him and hope for the best because some horses will be afraid of that. But like here, Winslow kind of follows it a little bit and then he kind of gets stuck and then he falls around. Like Winslow is a saint here. And he's definitely had some kind of training in the past and he's a pretty chill dude all around. So that's a pretty good, pretty perfect way you'd want your first time to go with this lesson. He followed it around, he got a little stuck, but he was like, okay, I figured it out. No big deal. So, really, like, to critique that, like, I would just give him a little bit more preparatory steps. And he's had some, he's done the lateral flexion, he's been lunged. I don't think he's been tied. He leads forward off the pressure, so really, this isn't bad. I would just wouldn't make sure that you do all those things with all of your horses. And that looks really good. Like he figured it out. He's not afraid of the rope. Um, he followed it around really nicely. That looks pretty good. Really, like he could go on to the other side. I don't want to. I probably will drill this in this episode or this video, but um, that's one thing that you shouldn't do. Like he looks like he's got it. There's really no need to do more of it. But this is a very important lesson for ground driving, which I am planning on ground driving him or do ground drive him later on. So that is very important. I would also make sure that your horse is cool with ropes on them before you do this, because you want the horse to move away from that pressure. So when you're ground driving them, if they start to turn towards you, you can put that pressure and turn them away from you versus getting them all tangled up in the rope. So that's the thing about it. So we actually did move to the other side, so that's good. And he's a little confused, like he wants to put his head down. That's a pretty normal reaction from a lot of horses, is they kind of just stick their head down and pull against it for a second, and then they'll kind of figure it out and go with it. But another thing, don't just pull him. Like you want to put some pressure. He kind of moves his neck, then release, then pull a little bit, apply a little pressure, and then release. Instead of just tangling him up and then just yanking on him, you really don't want to do that. You don't want to just pull and scare the crap out of the horse. If your horse is not this good and they are getting scared, just drop the rope. Let them step out of it. It's not a big deal. You don't want to just hold and get the horse tangled and scared. That's not going to serve any purpose either. So, just those caveats here. Obviously, we didn't do that in this lesson, but those are important things. Make sure the rope stays above their hocks too. You don't want to get it down tangled up in their legs. Like here, I could have released when he brought his neck to the side, and that would have helped him out there, and then release a little bit sooner. I was a little late there. He looks really good. Like he's crossing his hind legs over, he's stepping his front end over. He looks good. And I would do that a couple times each side, and then I call it a day, and then we can work on some other stuff to prepare for ground dropping or do whatever groundwork we're going to do. But that looks pretty good.